listen to anything that anybody would like to say. We have to keep it open for a half hour, is that it? Well, I don't know.
It's best to do that, yes.
Did anybody bring a guitar?
Last year was 15 minutes because I was the only one who asked a question.
Tracy likes to sing.
Okay.
And then they closed it.
Well, go ahead, continue your conversations, I guess.
And I think it would be appropriate to mute the recording until someone shows up to make a comment, and then we can kick out of the mute on the recording and then continue. So,
We're suspending the recording.
well, it'll still record. It'll just be muted. So,
In other words, we better whisper to our neighbor.
right.
How about? I am going to ask a
Go
question.
ahead, do you have a question?
Yes, I know it's going to be recorded. Can we get at least the overview? Don't you have an overview of the budget? Maybe do that. And then see if people come with any questions or any online. Don't we do an overview or something? We're not going to just sit here and just go, here it is, are we?
If you want an overview, you could ask that someone give one during the public hearing, but generally it would be an opportunity for the public to come in and give comment, but
What if they don't know what to comment on? I'm saying we should have an overview so they know what to comment on, what changes, what didn't change, things like that.
I don't believe in past years we have, it's all been done at committee in the past meetings prior to the public hearing.
Need it.
To give you the same slideshow that I had before.
Well, I just think when you have
You want-
a public hearing, at least explain what it's for.
also the public hearing is based upon the presentation that was given at the last county board. So the
Okay,
last county board, a presentation was given, and then it was noticed for public hearing for them to comment on the presentation. But again, I'm not saying that no one can give a presentation.
that's, I'm just,
Not volunteering to give a presentation, but I would point out that we've also published a budget in the paper, in a couple of the papers in Polk County. And it's on page 26 of your draft 3 budget book. Thanks to finance staff and everyone else for get this together. So the public has seen the budget as it's presented on page 26. And this is a budget of the general fund. What you have heard in October is the overall budget. With an extra $45 million in there. In all likelihood, if someone were to come in, they would have seen this in the budget, which is the budget for the general fund. They might not have seen what Administrator Norby has presented in October. That's just a point of information. And this is what we do every year.
Anybody else have anything they want to say? Take up some time. Only got 25 more minutes.
so I'm on my 3rd or 4th budget book. What changed between this one and the pretty colored one?
People can be.
There any changes in that?
I could comment on that briefly as well, sir, if you'd like.
Yes, I would. What changed?
So a lot of what changes is text in the book because we write in previous versions, this is going to happen, but it hasn't happened. As we move through the budget process, things do actually occur and we document those in the book. So as an example, we documented when the initial, the resolution with initial approval for bonding, we updated the budget book to say, the board approved the initial resolution for bonding. We can't write that before you do it. So there's a number of process changes in the book that shouldn't surprise you because you've been in all the meetings. We also, when you make decisions about how we're going to spend money, we lock those in and those get represented as it happened. And so the administrators recommended additions to the budget. we said that the board provisionally approved the administrator's recommendations for additions to the budget. For the final version, so Kim will get a fourth version in December, and that's the one that gets officially published. All of these process variables will be taken out. And every decision that you've made as a board will be represented in the book. That's maybe the briefest way I could explain it, but I can see that my colleague would like me to say one more thing, perhaps.
I was gonna say, any of the items that were on the resolutions from last month have been included financially now, so you could see the impact of the recycling fee and of the additional funding requests. Those have all been incorporated into the budget now, so that you're able to see it in totality.
So this overview has now been put into the book.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
You want to say, Brad? No. I thought you'd take up 20 minutes. We're in pretty good shape. We're killing time, basically. We're gonna, close the, public hearing. And I'm gonna, call the, regular session business meeting in order now at 6 p.m. Need a receipt of evidence, the opinion and public notice. What do you have?
The County Board of Supervisors November 12th meeting notice and agenda was posted in the Government Center building in 2 places and posted on the county website on November 7th, 2024. In addition, on Thursday, November 7th, 2024, at 3:43 p.m., the Office of the County Clerk distributed copies of such notice of meeting to supervisors and media via email.
Counselor?
That does satisfy proper notice.
Okay, roll call.
Brad Olson,
Here.
Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Steve Wornall.
Here.
Pamela Garvey.
Here.
Tracy LeBlanc.
Here.
Dan Ruck.
Here.
Sharon Kelly.
Here.
Jeremy Hall.
Here.
Kim O'Connell.
Here.
Tony Johnson.
Excused.
Jay Luke.
Here.
Francis Duncanson. Russ Arkand.
Here.
Keith Karpinski.
Here.
And John Bonaprise.
Here.
We have 14 out of 15.
You join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion on the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented if there isn't any additions.
No, none. Need a second? Second by, who seconded it?
Second.
Oh, Doug did, Rhodey. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved, same sign. Matters opted for this, the consent agenda.
A motion to have that moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any public comments? I see no one. Opposed resolutions. Go to A. 224. Pleasure.
Make a motion to approve resolution 5224, for funding community support programs and crisis service.
Okay,
second.
motion made and seconded to approve 5224. Any discussion? Hearing none, all,
Can I
I'm
just
sorry.
ask that we're not signing these and there's no fiscal or legal impact on these again?
I noticed that.
I mean, is there any fiscal impact on this one? That we know of?
No, this is a resolution from the county, Wisconsin County Highways Association providing support funding to the state.
This one's the
Well,
the other ones. Yeah.
It's the other one.
any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
There's no legal impact. It's a lobbying.
What'd you say?
So there's no legal impact. It's a lobbying resolution essentially.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right. Resolution 5324.
Move for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 5324. Any discussion?
Same question.
Same position from
Same
legal.
position, no fiscal impact.
No fiscal impact. We put no money into this?
These are feel good ones.
Okay, have it feel good. Okay.
Prefer to call them lobbying
Yeah,
resolutions.
lobbying motion, well, feel good, same thing. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign. Resolution 5424.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 5424 with the following amendment.
No amendments.
No amendments, okay. Then I'll withdraw my motion.
Well, so it can be moved for approval, come to discussion.
Okay,
Amendment can happen as long as the amendment does not substantially change the purpose of the resolution.
okay.
So I don't know specifically what the resolution is yet or what the potential.
I'm
impact is,
sorry.
but it could be appropriate.
Need a motion to move it first. Motion made and seconded
Is that to bring it to the floor or for discussion?
for discussion. Now you go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend resolution 5424, striking paragraph 3, lines 9 through 12.
Sorry, Fran, I don't mean to jump in. Did we have a second on the
Yes, we did.
motion for discussion?
Who?
I thought we did.
Fran withdrew. I've got Russ as making the motion and no second.
I'll second.
Okay,
So before a motion, are we gonna discuss?
Yep, so it's a motion to
To
discuss,
discuss.
but
Okay.
even during discussion, I believe a motion to amend is proper.
okay. Counselor, is that motion in order?
I apologize, Fran. Could you restate your?
Sure. I propose an amendment to resolution 5424, striking the third paragraph, which would be lines 9 through 12.
So 9 through 12 is a whereas. Is there also something in the now therefore be it resolved that you would like struck,
No,
right? So just jump in here. If the only thing you want struck is a whereas, there would be no substantial change to the actual outcome of the resolution. The reason being, I think the intent of striking 9 through 12 would be to also then strike on line 15, the change from the language beginning with to on. You would also like that
Correct.
struck.
yes, correct.
All right, Counselor.
Just for discussion, what, and why do you want to not make it a pilot program? Can I ask a question?
Sure. So,
For a second on the, did you second it?
I didn't.
Did anyone second the,
yeah, did anybody
No.
second the amendment? Maybe it's a moot point. I don't know.
Brad did.
not that one,
No,
only the
not that
first
one.
one? This is an
Okay.
amendment to the resolution.
Well, that was it was not seconded?
No.
No.
I'll second it so we can talk about it.
Okay. Seconded
Okay, so
discussion.
yeah, so for clarification and discussion, my concern is, and, maybe I'm not understanding all of it correctly, but the way it appears to me is that this would apply for 1 year only, and then would be reviewed again in 1 year, either on an annual basis or reviewed in 1 year for only 1 year. And there's the potential that it would have to be reviewed every year instead of just becoming a standard thing, whereas if it wanted to be discontinued, then it would come back. So my concern is with the recycling fee is that we do it this year, we free up $300,000 in the levy. That money is allocated to other portions of the budget. If we come back next year and we remove this, so the recycling is paid through the levy instead of through the special charge, then what are we gonna do? Are we gonna start laying people off? Where are we gonna cut that $300,000 in the subsequent year? Because this is freeing up $300,000 in the levy that is in our budget. Next year, if we decide, okay, we're gonna put recycling back in the levy, and have it paid for through the levy instead of through the special charge. What 300,000 are we going to cut out of the levy so we can put recycling back in the levy? That's my concern. Is we're putting ourselves in a position to make a $300,000 cut in a year or in every year. And I view that as being problematic. Because this isn't a new charge. What's changing is the way it gets paid. It's part of the levy. It's been part of the levy. So, okay, it's off the levy. We're spending that money somewhere else. It's in the budget. We're spending that $300,000. So then if we go and we change our mind and we say, we don't want it a special charge anymore, we don't like that, we're going to put it back in the levy. So where are you going to cut that $300,000? Is that going to be staff cuts? Is that going to be cuts to programs? What are we going to cut? And why would we put ourselves in that position?
Kim's got a question.
He was first.
Kim, go ahead.
So I would like to see it as a pilot program because we don't even know how it's gonna work.
Right.
So I'm gonna vote against your amendment because we don't know who's getting, how it's being gonna be done. They have not figured that out yet. So I think we need it, who's gonna get charged, who isn't. And it should be a pilot program because I just don't think, I already paid for recycling. I don't know why I gotta pay again. If it's already in the levy, why didn't we just leave it there and not do this at all?
Well,
So that's, no, I'm not to argue,
Okay.
please. So why, I don't know why we even took it out of the levy to do this, to start this argument and charge everybody this without knowing how they're being charged. We don't know who's getting exempt, who isn't. It says improvements on property, so say I get an address on my land, my 40 acres, and I put an 8x8 shed on it. I'm gonna pay $35. But then a farm or an apartment building's got 20 people, 20 apartment buildings, they only pay $35. So I think that's what we gotta reconcile. That's why it has to be a pilot program. That's my feelings is all. So I'll go from there.
Can I just ask a question for
Karen,
clarification?
go ahead.
So today that 300,000 is in the budget for the recycle center, right? Tomorrow it's going to be taken out. That, it's not my understanding that that's going to be taken out and go back to the general fund, is it?
Right now, the $300,000 in the levy is still in there for the recycling center
Yeah,
for 2025. In 2026, that 350,000 will be removed from the recycling center. And those levy dollars will be displaced somewhere else.
Steve?
Yeah, I've talked to staff about this resolution and I spent some time out here doing research. I pick a property, come out here, they'd show me what it was. I found 100-foot barns, pole barns, with manure tanks, grain bins, silos, that will have no charge. Big 100-foot long red barns on ag land have no charge. The house has been sold off to another party. They'll pay a fee for there. But in talking with the staff, their concern about the 1-year limit on this program is they won't really know where they're at and they won't have the equipment to show the result that everybody's hoping for. So I realize that I'll make a different motion, but they felt in 2 years, they may have the equipment on the ground there and be operating at the capacity that we want to evaluate. You know, if we just do a 1-year pilot and they don't have the equipment there, they don't have everything set up the way it needs to be to perform. Well, then if they don't get the money, where are we at? Now we have the additional fee and we have make up the money. So now we got a double problem. So,
Right.
I just talked with staff and, you know, they thought a 2-year pilot would at least get them to where they'd have the equipment on the ground, have the new building done, be able to evaluate is this program really gonna function the way everybody hopes it will? You know, but if in 1 year it doesn't get the funding, and we gotta go back to the other way. I mean, granted, they'll get the funding either way, but you know, the whole idea was to try and make it stand on its own. So,
Can I,
Brad?
So I agree with Steve that ag buildings are not gonna hit the second charge. My concern is when I look around and see somebody who lives in an old railroad community who has 7, 8 lots to put their house and their garage on, they're gonna get hit twice because their house is sitting on 2 lots, their garage is sitting on 2 lots. Maybe it's somebody who bought 3 parcels that somebody had lotted off over the years and got a house, a shed, a garage on 3 different parcels. They're gonna get hit 3 times. I think this thing has a lot of problems with it, a lot of problems that need to be worked out and fixed. To Kim's point, I agree. I mean, the apartments, they're gonna, that hold 20 families, maybe more, are gonna pay a $35 fee. I would say we're putting ourselves in a certain amount of legal jeopardy from the standpoint of if we're going to charge a house the same as a shed that generates no recycling, no waste. I think that puts us in a fair amount of legal risk, and that doesn't come from me. It actually comes from the State Legislative Corporation Council for the legislature. So I think it's somebody who probably knows what it is that they're talking about when they say that we have risk to charge that outbuilding, so to speak, the same as a house. I think this has, it's got to be a pilot program.
Fran?
So I just 2 things I want to mention. So this is, the entire state of Wisconsin does this and does it successfully. Every county does, except for Polk County. And if every other county can do it successfully, I don't know why we can't. I think that we maybe need to get more information so people maybe are more comfortable with it. But obviously, it's being done other places and being done successfully. I also think too, it's worth pointing out that there are parcels that currently, through their taxes and by paying the tax levy, pay for the recycling center, that when this methodology comes into play as a special charge, they'll be paying nothing. They'll be paying nothing at all. And currently they are paying something. So that thing kind of goes both ways. Maybe what we need is more information and better explanations, but the rest of the state has been doing this a very long time, and we probably should have been doing it and implemented it at the time, the county was forced into recycling.
Anyone else?
So that's all I've got to say about it.
Well, I mean, based on that, I would say then let's reevaluate it in a year. It should be a pilot program. Let's not amend
What
it.
this is
Leave it
designed.
as it is.
Steve?
yeah, I also looked at apartment buildings and hotels. And, they all have their own bins. Okay, they don't produce any product, so in reality, what's the fairness if they're not putting any product out? They pay one fee for their building and, so I mean, I appreciate everybody's thoughts on this, but, we're all responsible to do our research and find out, what's really out there. And, I don't see it the same way a lot of people see it, but, I just feel that it's important to give your input so that, the citizens know that we do research stuff, we looked at stuff. So,
Anybody that hasn't spoke on this, Brad, did you want to say more?
I just want to chime in before any additional
Go
comment.
ahead.
We're doing a pretty good job of staying on topic, and so I appreciate that. Just remember that we're discussing whether or not the pilot program is appropriate or not, so make sure, again, everyone's done a pretty good job of tailoring your comments to revolve around that issue. So as long as you can bring it back to the argument of whether or not a pilot program is a good or bad idea, it's fine. I just want to make sure we don't run into an open meetings issue, so.
Can I do one more? And this is a Joe question, I think. Having that as a whereas, does that make that? I mean, if this resolution passes as it is, that means that it would be a pilot program? Or can that, I'm just concerned if it's a whereas.
The whereas is not a determinative issue, part of a resolution. A whereas is a set of facts that is advising why the board is acting.
Yep.
And there now therefore be a result. So striking a whereas may be appropriate if the resolution gets amended to no longer address the part of that fact that's being presented in the whereas. But just eliminating a whereas without changing anything in the actual part of the resolution would have no practical effect.
But leaving it like it is as a whereas, would that then impact the original resolution as saying it would be a pilot?
If you leave the whereas and if you leave the now therefore be it resolved. So
Yeah.
you'll notice that it changes both the Scrivener's error,
Yeah,
the 2024-5, it changes that back to 2024, what it should have been.
yeah,
But it also changes beginning with to on. So it currently says beginning with, it amends beginning with to on.
okay,
So that change, that one word change changes
Makes
it
that.
from 1 year, or changes it from in perpetuity
Yep.
to just 1 year.
okay, gotcha.
Right. Any more discussion on the amendment? Is the amendment appropriate?
If the amendment were passed by the board, the amendment to the resolution,
Right.
that the resolution would still more or less accomplish what it doesn't substantially change it to the point where it wouldn't be passable meetings law. So theoretically, it could pass and it would be fine.
Okay, anybody else have any questions in reference, or any more comments in reference to the amendment to strike 9 through 12? Is that what you requested, Fran?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion in reference to that?
What else was the amendment? Was it line 15 in there too mentioned?
Yep.
15 changing beginning with Justin.
Mhm.
Instead of beginning with, or instead of changing beginning with to on, essentially beginning with would stay the same. All on line 15. That's what the amendment is.
So
Fran's amendment
we're striking 9, 12, and 15, 9 through 12 and 15,
and part of 15. Yep.
and part of 15.
Can
As
you
I
have a-
understand it,
Can you have a second?
we had a second. Yeah,
Steve seconds.
that's where we
So we
got the
can discuss,
discussion.
yeah.
So we're ready to act on the amendment,
I'd like a roll call, please,
Roll call on both.
right?
on the amendment. That's all we're voting on right now.
So this is appropriate according to our resolution. All right,
Right. Essentially what the amendment does is it makes this resolution only a Scrivener's correction and nothing else. The resolution stands the way it is currently exists, except for the Scrivener's correction. If this amendment passes.
roll call.
Jay Luke,
No.
Fran Duncanson,
Yes.
Russ Arkan,
No.
Keith Karpinski,
No.
John Bonaprise,
No.
Brad Olson,
No.
Doug Rowdy,
No.
Steve Wornall,
Yes.
Pam Garvey,
No.
Tracy LeBlanc,
No.
Dan Ruck,
No.
Sharon Kelly,
No,
Jeremy Hall,
No.
Kim O'Connell.
No,
We have 2 yeses and the rest are no.
That failed. Now we're back to the resolution that's on the floor. Any more comment in reference to that? We had a second on that already.
Just a question for legal, if I could, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
If I was to make a motion to change this to a 2-year plan,
You
would
can't.
that be appropriate at this time or not?
Again, theoretically, you could move to amend to modify the language. Again, you could. And because you are not substantially changing the resolution as it exists, you're just adding 1 year. I think it would fall within the parameters of still being allowed and would not violate open meetings.
That's not changing the
It's,
intent.
it's not changing the intent, it's changing it from a 1-year pilot to a 2-year pilot. I believe the question was.
We have is that in the form of a motion?
Well, my motion would be such that, motion to change this to a 2-year plan based on staff recommendations. That they feel that in order to get the equipment and everything that they need on the ground there, a 1-year plan won't get it there. We won't be able to properly evaluate, I guess there's a little more than what you want to write in it.
I think so.
But I guess we can discuss it after, but my motion is to change this to a 2-year pilot plan. I'm for the pilot plan. Just, I think 2 years
Get a good
is a
discussion.
better
And I
time
second that.
frame.
It's seconded.
Point of clarification for the motion. I
Okay,
believe the motion is to modify line 16 to change it from on the 2024 property tax bill to instead read on the 2024 and 2025 property tax bills.
Correct.
That's the motion to amend.
Yeah, you're all right.
okay.
You'd have to do line 11 as well, though. This says only apply to the 2024 tax bill, so that would have
Yes.
to be adjusted as well.
So the whereas on line 11 would have to be modified as well. Thank you, Pam.
911 is modified also. All right, 11 and 16. The motion is made to modify line 11 and 16
I think 7 too.
and 7.
That's his
So the 7 whereas is related to the clerical error. So I think that's fine. the way it
Without
is.
adding the next year on it, so you think that would pass?
So we
Okay.
need to add a year on 11 to read 2025
6.
2024 and 2025 property tax bills.
on both line 11 and line 16.
Correct. So basically, just adding the words and 2025
Any
to
more-
each of those lines.
Any more discussion on that amendment?
Did it have a second?
Has it been seconded?
I just
We
second.
had a second.
Oh, John
Then,
did.
then,
Okay.
yeah, I'd just like to say, you know, we hire staff. We hire good staff and they do an excellent job. As a county board, we really need to support them when they come with these type of suggestions of what do we need to do here to get this done? I mean, to me, it's a slap in the face to them if we don't take their advice as to how, you know, this needs to be done. So that's what the basis for my
Brad, do you have something else?
My job as a supervisor is to watch out for my constituents and my taxpayers, not staff. No
Okay.
offense to staff, but it is to watch out for the taxpayers.
Okay, any more comments? Hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment. Anybody,
Roll call.
everybody understand? We got a roll call. Advised. All right, roll call.
Fran Duncanson,
Yes.
Russ Arkand,
No.
Keith Karpinski,
No.
John Bonaprise.
Yes.
Brad Olson,
No.
Doug Rowdy,
Yes.
Steve Wornall,
yes.
Pamela Garvey,
No.
Tracy LeBlanc,
No.
Dan Ruck,
No.
Sharon Kelly,
No.
Jeremy Hall,
No.
Tim O'Connell.
No,
That is 4 yeses and 10 noes.
5 yeses. You never asked me,
Yeah, yes.
Oh, Jay, I'm so sorry.
not that I care.
Yes or no? Jay Lou.
Sometime.
Yes. All right,
So that's, yeah, 5 yes.
all right, so that failed also. So we're back to the resolution. The resolution on the floor is to adopt 5424, and we're still in the discussion mode. Bad.
Actually, the resolution on the floor is currently only for discussion, not for approval,
For discussion.
only. Mhm.
Right.
Need a motion for,
I move for approval on
Close out discussion.
the resolution as written.
Second.
The discussion is referred to approval. Brad, did you want to say something?
So just a question for Joe, just on that line 9 through 12, the whereas, that will then, my concern is that it's just a whereas and it's just saying what we're doing. But you said earlier, we are covered that it covers it in the resolve clause.
Yep, so because it says now therefore be it resolved, on line 15, it changes the language beginning with, again, it says 2025, but that's a scrivener's error, beginning with the 2025 tax bill. That would indicate that it's an ongoing special charge, changing the beginning with to on the 2024 property tax bill limits it to only that 1 year
Okay.
of tax bills that resolution would apply to.
And I recognize that in my motion as you previously stated.
Okay. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Are you sure?
Hit me.
Russ Harkamp,
Yes.
Keith Karpinski,
Yes.
John Bonaprise,
Yes.
Brad Olson,
Yes.
Doug Rowdy,
Yes.
Steve Wornall,
No.
Pamela Garvey,
No.
Tracy LeBlanc,
Yes.
Dan Ruck,
Yes.
Sharon Kelly,
Yes.
Jeremy Hall,
Yes.
Kim O'Connell,
Yes.
Jay Luke,
Yes.
and Francis Duncanson.
No.
All right,
Moving on.
resolution 5424. Oh, we don't want to go through that again. Resolution 5024.
A motion to bring it to the floor for discussion.
Motion made and seconded to bring 5424 to the floor for discussion. Only.
Okay, so if there isn't any, so I will make on line 2004, need to change it, instead of 237,000, 238, the number's 237, 121, 53. Is that the right number, Mo?
that was the right number from
All
Bremer
right.
Bank. And this resolution, as we talked to our bond council, was still, after you approved to go for bonding for 2.2 million, our bond council, so we don't have a slight drop in the levy, was to break it up into two components. The short-term one, and the original bonding that'll be done later on in 2025. And what this gives us the ability to do though is purchase our squads ahead of time, right away. So it's still in that component of, our bond strategy.
Do I need to do that as a motion?
And the amendment is based upon new numbers from Bremer Bank that essentially say that it's going to be cheaper for us to borrow the money by
Correct.
$100 and some dollars.
Yes.
You need a motion?
Do you need a motion for that? Do I need a motion for that amendment? For that number?
Did you move to amend?
No, you only brought.
Yeah, but
It's up for discussion. Okay.
It's up for
It will need
discussion.
to get
Amended.
amended.
Amended when we go for, all right, so then it's just, at least it's explained, okay.
or it's on discussion only.
Yeah.
Any more discussion?
So would it be that? Oh, can I be recognized?
Are you the discussion?
Yeah, for discussion. So is it that big a difference in the levy that why wouldn't we take that out of the money, the extra money that we have versus borrowing it if we're just to buy the cars? I mean, why are we, is it,
Due to the fact that our debt service falls off, there's a short little blip in time that this prevents our levy from dropping.
but how much is it gonna drop for 235,000? Is it even noticeable?
It is noticeable in the fact that once it drops, we can't get that back unless we go outside for new construction. Is that correct statement?
It's 240. We actually lose $240,000, 240,000 if we don't do something like this.
We actually lose?
We lose the ability, we lose that much in our levy limit. And it's an incredibly arcane technicality embedded in state statute that we have to schedule a loan payment for 2025. And because we won't actually be making the big loan until 2025, we can't schedule a payment right now on that loan. So we have to do this sort of maneuver. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, to stay within the stipulations of statute and not lose our levy. I sure want the case. It does have the added benefit though, and this was brought up by the administrator in general government. We do need a way to borrow money shorter term than the 10-year note that we're going to be getting for the balance to do things like buy squads, because we wouldn't want to be paying on a squad 7 years after its useful life. So this sort of thing may end up being a good idea for us in the long run, even though it's kind of painful in the short run.
Any more discussion?
There's also a number of Scrivener's errors in the title that we will correct when the resolution gets signed.
Hopefully.
I already got them changed.
I'd make the motion to move resolution 5024.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion made and seconded to approve resolution 5024.
With the,
Any more?
With the change to line
Put
2.
amendment that
Any discussion?
I want to do the amendment for line 200.
Okay,
The amendment would change the tax levy number from 237, 238 to 237, 121.53.
need a second.
Second the amendment as presented.
Any discussion in reference to that? All in favor? Or same sign? Okay. So the amendment to resolution 5024 is successful and passed, so we will entertain it. We have a motion for 5424 to be approved. Any more discussion in reference to that? Seeing none. All in favor of resolution 5424 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution 5124 is on in the capital budget for the calendar year of 25 and set 25 tax
Approval
levy.
as presented. 5124.
I'll second that.
Resolution 5124 is approved and started for approval on the board and seconded. Any discussion? Being none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. County Board Chairman has no appointment. Administrator, have an appointment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, at the 2 different appointments. The first one is for the Library Planning Committee. It's a committee set up by the administrators every 5 years to go over the plan. We received applications and we get the appointments on there. So you have the names. And so it's Allison Lutz, the director at Fiddle Lake, Heather Weirda, Director of Amory Libraries. Amanda Blackman from Frederick Library. Sue Durkop lives in Centuria. Leanne French, Sarah Serba, Christine LaFond, and Kelsey Gunn. This committee will be headed by Supervisor Duncanson, which will be meeting to go over the new plan for the 2025 to 2029 library. So those are my nominations for the appointments to the library committee.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed slate of appointments for the library planning committee.
Any discussion reference to the, oh, I need a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor of the appointments, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Appointment to park system.
My next appointment is a statutory appointment. This was brought up that during, due to we have an administrative form of government, the park system general manager can make certain decisions on the parks. Which of this appointment should have been made ever since we had an administrator. It gives me great pleasure to do the appointment to Rod Polk as given this title to do that with that. Comes with no compensation.
Yeah.
But it does come with a longer business card. Slash on the items.
So your title's that much longer. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wraps around.
Anything else? We need a motion?
Yes, please.
Motion made and
Second.
seconded to approve the appointment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. The report has been thoroughly discussed, maybe mainly on things that we've already gone over at the entire meeting. Administrator, do you have anything to report?
I do. I have some good news. I want to thank you all first for the work on the budget and the committee work. I felt it went really well this year. Very smooth. One of the announcements I have is on our Polk County's 4-H Dairy Quiz Bowl team. Competed this year at the national competition last weekend in Louisville, Kentucky. And our team won the 24 national champions.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
They are, the team consisted of Kaylee Anderson, Darby Trent, Suki Garrick, and Evelyn Broughton. Bayton. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. I'm not good at names. The coaches are Gwen Dado and Patty Herkin. So they've been practicing at 6 a.m. every Sunday since last December, and their hard work paid off. But I wanted to share that news that they are national champs for the Dairy Quiz Bowl.
Nice. Great. Anything else?
That's all I have right now.
Any supervisors have anything to report? Seeing none. Motion made to adjourn and seconded. By whom?
I'll sign.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye. All same sign.
Thank you, Dr. Moe, for your budget.